Match number 2 here on Philippe Chatrier, part of the Stade Roland Garros complex. Cliff Riser now, Patrick McEnroe about to watch Roger Federer. Federer struggled at the Australian this year, this 23-year-old from Switzerland who was both born there and still lives very close to home. Got to the semi-final and Marat Safin barely took him out in the semis. But his overall record, hugely impressive. He won the Pacific Life and then followed that up with the win to NASDAQ, both of those on hard courts. His clay court record, as you can see this year, not too sloppy either.
No, yeah, that one loss was to Richard Gasquet, the young Frenchman, in Monte Carlo. In a great match in 3 sets. See his best result here at Roland Garros to the quarterfinals back in 2001. Last year, Federer upset by Gustavo Kuerten, a former 3-time champ. Kuerten's still trying to come back from those hip problems. He has had another surgery, and he's played without a lot of success in this year's clay court season. Kuerten.
Talk about Nadal mania as much as you like, but it's Roger Federer who is the top seed, and he's dominated Grand Slam tournaments since he won the great Wimbledon championship 2 years ago. And then repeated. To me, Patrick, the difference though with Federer is pretty simple. I mean, like you go back to the NASDAQ 100, for example, Federer is down 2 sets, down a break, looks for all the world like he's gone. 2 years ago, he would have been gone. Now he's different.
That was against Rafael Nadal in the final. Yeah, he's become really a great competitor, and I think those kind of matches for him to win and he said afterwards, very important for him because he, as you said, Cliff, he wasn't often a guy who was known for, I mean, we always known about his talent and his shot making and being a great front runner, but now he's able to dig down when he's not playing his best. You know, a lot of people who saw him play at Hamburg day in and day out said he didn't even play great. It wasn't his best tennis, but he still won the tournament, won a Masters Series event on clay, his worst surface, without playing his best tennis. And we should mention he also took out Guillermo Coria along the way. It's been the 2 tournaments that Federer has played.
Well, he didn't play his best tennis at the NASDAQ, did he?
No, that was the beginning of the problems he was having with his feet. He had some plantar fasciitis, and in fact he took a couple of weeks off after that win in Miami. That was why he missed the Italian Open.
Call them a lucky losers. You know, if you lose in the final round of qualifying competition, well, that's the good news for him. The bad news is that he draws Federer in the first round. Sela has changed coaches several times, trained with his brother Ofer for a long time, and then worked with Oda Jacob, who used to work with Harold Levy.
Of course, the best Israeli player that I've had is on the men's side was Amos Mansdorf, and had a similar sort of style, Sela, with a good backcourt game. Nice looking one-handed backhand, but he's pretty short. And you could see that last backhand left the ball really getting up high on him. And it's tough to generate the power with that one-handed backhand. The male players playing with so much spin these days. The ball really jumping up on this surface especially.
Dudi Sela actually now lives in Paris. He was born in a little town near the Lebanese border and then later moved to Ramat Hasharon, which is near Tel Aviv. Lars Bergsmuller making a better impression on Rafael Nadal in the second set. It's 3 apiece, and I should mention to you that Carlos Moya has won the third set and is up 2-0 against Alberto Martin, his countryman. Moya lost the first set but looks to be under control now. Dudi Sela has never played a Grand Slam main draw match until today. In fact, not only Grand Slam, he hasn't played a tour match level.
Well, challengers and futures, trying to get his ranking up. That's beautifully covered there by Federer. And there you see his excellent movement on the play, Federer, the way he slides. That's how he slides into this ball. Good explosive move and then controls it. Wasn't a bad idea from Sela, but he didn't execute that drop shot particularly well. It's always a good play, though. Keep your opponent guessing. You'll see that often, that play, throughout this 2-week event.
Break point.
Skidded off the line. He's have a pretty good court sense, Sela. Wants to take that ball early. Certainly let loose a few of those nerves, Cliff, if he could start right off holding his serve. You know, get on the board.
Sela, it looks like he could be Federer's ball boy, doesn't he? He said he's not too tall. Federer started out as a ball boy. In fact, his mom worked in the credentials office of the tournament where he lives.
In Basel, yeah, in Switzerland.
In fact, did he ball boy for you once?
Yeah, believe it or not, he did, yeah. I found that out when we were doing an interview with him a year and a half ago or so.
Started out ball boying rather, when he was 9 years old.
He must have been thinking, God, how bad is this guy? I didn't know. I could be playing right now. I actually made it to the final that year, believe it or not, Cliff. One of your compadres, Wayne Ferreira. Federer said, yeah, I was rooting for Ferreira. Yeah.
I was really glad that, well, you know, his mom was born in South Africa. Yes. That may well be why that was.
Why.
In fact, his charity is dedicated to helping the kids of Port Elizabeth, South Africa. New Brighton. In fact, his mom and his dad met in South Africa. They were in the pharmaceutical business.
Roger's mom is very much involved in his foundation, and there she is, Lynette Federer. So he's kept all his business basically a family affair. He's not represented by any of the management companies. And he says that's just the way he likes it. Well, sloppy misses from Federer, so Sela holds on.
City of Lights is dominated by the beautiful Eiffel Tower. Seems like every time you cross a street here or turn a corner, you will see some historic building or monument of some kind. Springtime in Paris.
Pretty breezy out there on center court right now. All moving around, and that means your footwork is more important. You got to give yourself a little more margin for error on your shots.
Patrick, you were saying that Federer has stayed really close to the family and that his mom helps him out with his charity work. His girlfriend does so much for him, just with in terms of helping him with endorsements, etc., and his PR. He's a very understated kind of a personality, but he does get involved in his own business affairs. Which is very unusual.
Yeah, he says initially it was a bit of a drag. He said when he sort of took over his own career and the details of it. And he's awfully glad that he did now. Oh, that went long. He says, you know, you'd have to fly back in between tournaments sometimes to go back to Basel for a day to have meetings and talk about what his schedule is and what his foundation is doing and his various appearances. Sloppy shots here from Federer in the early going.
Now talk about that drop shot that you just saw him try, Patrick, and fail with. He said that he's trying to build this into his game, and to the extent that he's been able to do that, it's going to help him on the surface.
He talked about that last year. He said that's, you know, I think we asked him, is there any part of your game that, you know, you guys so good? He says, yeah, I want to work on my drop shot. Sort of laughing, but he's actually trying to make that part of his repertoire.
2-1 to Roger Federer, world's #1, live here in Paris. Now let's go back to Roger Federer, caught Philippe Chatrier. Here, he, you know, lost that early game, but other than that, it's been pretty much all Rog. 5 games to 1, 30-15, 2 points away from the first set.
So here, I think, would be a good time, Cliff, for Federer to, you know, start serving and volleying a little bit more. I mean, obviously, this set's in the bag at 5-1, 30 all.
Should mention that Bergsmuller leading 6-5 in the second set. Nadal serving 30-15. So they're at a pretty crucial stage over there also. 40-15 Nadal.
Somehow I have a feeling we're going to go over and see that tiebreak, Cliff. I just have a feeling after Federer closes this game out in this set.
You think?
I just, I'm sort of thinking about our geniuses in the truck, operating thing. I think we're going to pop over there.
Set point Federer. Genius, is it? Deuce. In this game, Roger Federer of Switzerland, born so close to French border.
Well, there he tried the serve volley, but Sela just cranks the forehand.
Avantage Sela.
Takes some big cuts at the ball, this young Israeli.
Dudi Sela, born close to the Lebanese border in Israel. Now living in Paris. Practices with Mario Baghdadis here.
Égalité.
Oh, that's tough.
Beautiful. Yeah, you can hit some shots. Problem is trying to string them together.
Avantage Sela.
Beautiful couple backhands here. Federer throws in the slice and he just unloads. He's at a break point. Get one back.
Another break point.
Égalité.
So back at deuce, obviously we'll keep you apprised of what's happening here, but let's go and check in. Here at the French Championships, it's the #1 seed. Roger Federer in action, won the first set 6-3. Down a break in the second. Now 3 games all, but this is a break point for Federer, and he breaks. So Federer's up 4 games to 3. Players will change the ends. We'll take a break because Federer has now turned this thing around. There was some rain, and Dudi really wanted to get off this court, but now the sun is out, the rain has gone, and you'll be watching game number 8 when you come back to our live coverage of the French Open from Paris. Live coverage here from what they used to call Court Central. And then in honor of Philippe Chatrier, named it after him, it is Roger Federer who is the top seed here. Federer leading 4-3 with the break, 15-30 though in this game. Taking on Dudi Sela of Israel.
Qualifier from Israel, playing in his first event ever on tour. And mostly in challengers and future events. He's handled himself pretty well, Sela. Had an early break in this second set.
Played 11 clay court events in his life. Mixture, as you said, Patrick, futures and challenges.
These are the kind of things, this is an example, Cliff, of the different factors here at Roland Garros. The sun's out now. It was just raining pretty hard 5 minutes ago. And this is why Federer is more susceptible on this surface. What a terrible game he played right there to get the break. He got back up a break, and he just gave that game away. You will rarely see him play a game like that on another surface. But there's a chance that he can do that on clay, and whether that's because of the weather, the wind, the surface, That's why he's not as dominant a favorite on this surface as he is certainly at Wimbledon and at the U.S. Open and Australian Opens. I mean, you talk about Wimbledon, Cliff. I mean, there's only a couple of players in my mind that even have a chance to beat Federer. Here at Roland Garros, I mean, there's probably 20, 30 players that can beat him on clay. And there's the man that he's hired this year, Tony Roach, a great Australian player and coach. Federer hooking up with him beginning of this year for mostly the majors and the preparation for the majors.
I guess Tony was in Hamburg, and he's going to stay with him through this. He's not going to spend all year with him by any means. Roach has a great coaching credentials.
Coach Ivan Lendl through a lot of Lendl's heyday, and Patrick Rafter. Beautiful backhand pass there from Federer.
And oh, by the way, played the final of the French Championships and was one of the toughest doubles players ever, alongside John Newcomb.
Got a pretty decent backhand volley, right, Cliff?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Roach.
A high backhand volley. Bye. Love 40 break points for Federer. And Roger Federer gets another break. So it's 5-4. Federer leading. Federer will serve to go up by 2-0 when we come back live to this day one of the French Open. Roger Federer facing Dudi Sela. I should say Dudi Sela facing Roger Federer.
No, that's okay. You can give Dudi his props.
Dudi playing in his first tour match.
I don't think we're going to be saying Dudi Sela's name much more after the next about 45 minutes or so.
30 love, 1 set, and 5-4. This is Roger serving for the set, and now he's got 40 love. Dudi Sela going to the sideline, probably change a racket there. Lindsay Davenport a winner, Hantukova a winner so far today. Castaño also. Kim Kleisters in the women's. Karatancheva. Schroff in the men's. Carlos Moya through. Burdick also. Mario Ancic through. Nadal, Malis next round.
Burdick is an interesting guy. I mean, he's the guy that beat Federer at the Olympics last year. I've been expecting big things from him, and he's would have been a bit disappointing the last 6 months, but maybe he'll make some noise here. He took out the American Jeff Morrison easily.
Take on Nalbandian in the next round for Burdick. If Nalbandian wins that match not finished yet.
Nalbandian will take on Baghdadis, the Cypriot. So that could be a pretty entertaining match there. Marcos Baghdadis. There's a serve volley play, and Federer able to put a pretty ugly second set, but Federer gets out of it.
It's behind him. He's got 2-0. Set 3 when we come back to our live coverage. Back everybody, as Roger Federer, who is the top seed in the championship, has got a big lead, 6-4, make that 6-1, 6-4 in the third set now.
Break point here, Cliff. Would love to. Sela serving. Oh yes, steps around the second serve and beautifully controlled forehand winner there.
So Federer lost his serve a couple of times in the second set, but it has been plain sailing here so far in the third. Big lead for Roger Federer, 3 games to love, a couple of breaks of serve, and now he's, I was going to say he was toying with Dudi Sela, but not in that point. Anyway, Federer has got 15 all, 3 games to love, 2-0. Mentioned that he lost his serve a couple of times in the second set, but got back handily. Remember last year, the same court, Patrick, and we went down to Guga Kirtan. I think I have some disagreement with you, which is not a surprise on that match. That's
definitely not a surprise.
I thought Federer didn't play as badly as you thought he played, because I thought that Guga was really spectacular for that match.
I didn't. Did I say he played badly?
Well, no, you didn't say he played badly.
I just think he's more. He can't dominate as easily on this surface, and you're right. I mean, Guga played an excellent match. Played a great match.
And Guga's won it here 3 times. To me, it was like the old Guga, and Federer was just on the receiving side of it.
I think the point I was making about that, Cliff, is that it's unlikely that someone's going to play that well against Federer on another surface. You know, on clay, it's possible that someone can really have a great day. And even if you have a great day on grass, it's not going to matter. Fifth double fault from Federer. Sela with a chance to get 1 break back. 7 of 14 for Federer, 2 of 5 for this young Israeli. Cannon shot spot, showing that serve right down the middle on the line.
Avantage Federer.
Federer is from Basel, or Basel, depending on what language you speak. Bustling city of tree-lined avenues, trams, and the Rhine River flows through it. Lob is way long, and Federer holds serve. 4 to Federer in the 3rd set.
Federer mène par 4-0.
Federer says that he always spoke English as a kid, as a young kid, because his mother was from South Africa. Speaks French now, but it was really not until he was 14 years of old and he moved to the French part of Switzerland that he started speaking.
Now, Cliff, here's an example of its previous point on the volley from Federer. Watch the way he slides into the volley. This is something, you know, I talked about at the beginning of the day that my brother struggled with, that Boris Becker struggled with, that Sampras, that movement. But Federer, you see, slides nicely into the volley. And that's just as important, I think, for him and his success here as his movement from the back of the court, being able to move well at the net. You can see he's been very successful up around the net. And a big part of that is his mobility with that slide.
Oh!
So, speaking of mobility, hello. Yeah. That's a big part of his success on any surface.
And he was enjoying this. He may not show it, but you could see him moving to this ball, and he's almost, you could see him thinking, I know I can get there. I know I can. Boom.
That's a great shot, a great angle on that. You could see how low the ball was, and he's able to flick it and keep his body under control, under balance. Phenomenal shot. He's right back with a great return. Couple more break points. This is Federer will be much happier with this set, Cliff, playing a good solid set here after a shaky 2nd set.
Federer is very much in control of this match. Well, the Rhine runs through his hometown of Basel, and the Seine runs through the great city of Paris. Springtime in Paris. Federer serving for the match. He's got 2 sets to love and 15 love in this game, leading 5 games to love. it's all over. But the handshake, Patrick, he was saying, by the way, before the French Championships, that he really likes to play in Hamburg. He likes the surface. What's the difference between the surface in Hamburg and the surface here in Paris?
Well, here it's a little bit quicker usually. Obviously, that part of that depends on the weather. Hamburg, it's usually pretty cool, and it makes the court a little bit damper. So that means the footing is actually better in Hamburg, even though the surface is a bit slower. And Federer actually likes that. He likes the fact that he has a little time. I think actually on a hot day here might be a kind of day that Federer could struggle, which is surprising because you think, oh, he's going to want to play on a fast court. But I think actually here, if it's a hot day, the ball sort of jumps around. It's hard to get your footing as well. It's more slidey, slippery.
Match point. Roger Federer making it look easy.
That was easy. It was a shaky second set. Some of that had to do with the conditions when the rain for a couple of minutes. But Federer will want to play better. I mean, the section of the draw that he's in is pretty good for him. And the crowd, of course, would love to see him around deep into this tournament. He's never been past the quarterfinals. That's his sister, actually, on the left there, and his mom, Lynette.